Hello, everybody. This is Marty coming at you from Cheap Chumps, and this is our very first episode. So I didn't really prep the greatest intro, but I'm Marty, and to my right, I'm going to throw it over to Josh. He's to my not my virtual right. There we go.
Hey, it's me. I'm Josh. I'm to Marty's virtual right over here, and to my virtual right would be Mr. George.
Hey, what up? It's your boy, uh, George, aka Jorge, but people call me whatever. And to my virtual right, you got the boy Joseph.
Hey everybody, how's it going? I'm Joseph. You can know me as Roach Dog Jr. I'm gonna be on this podcast helping out a little bit, kind of just giving my opinions.
hmm Next up is me talking again, and just for this podcast, what we kind of want to aim for, without giving like a whole novel, is that we're just gonna be a catch-all of nerd, geek, and what I'll say weeb media. And that's the whole gang. On today's episode, September 12th, uh, about 2 days ago, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but 2 days ago, the PlayStation Showcase showed not that long ago. And we're going to be talking about that. But I nearly forgot. Not before long, we plan to also stream some games. We don't have any confirmed titles, but I play games like FF14, which most of us do. Minecraft is back an upcoming one again. Apex, probably even Overwatch, and yeah, we're just gonna be a nice little group of friends. It won't always be four of us, but for today's first episode and getting intros out of the way, thought it'd be nice to bring the whole gang here for a family picnic.
Family
And
fun day.
I'm ready to get into it. Moving on to the PlayStation Showcase. We all saw it. We all know what PlayStation is. We all know who Sony is. I am going to give slight first thoughts about the opening, and I feel like it's kind of important because I'm not the smartest guy. I'll just say it right now. For those who think I'm smart, I'm not. I was watching the opening after Mr. Sony president talked. Anybody know his real name?
No,
Maybe.
I don't. Maybe you're better informed.
Well, let's see. The power of looking up, uh, Jim Ryan.
Jim Ryan.
He,
That was written right on my roof. Go on.
he's president and CEO. There you go.
Well, when Mr. Sony Man came out, he gave this little talk, and it started off with a really interesting. I don't want to say interesting, with this really weird ad where they were playing chess. Did anyone else realize that was part of the ad? Like it was a bunch of like, I don't want to say like hoodlums, like just a bunch of like street people in like a city of like New York, and they're like chasing each other, and it keeps cutting in and out of scenes to like two kings, like a black and white king, like they're dressed in white and black, and they're just like playing chess, and like all these other people dressed as like their parts. Like there was a biker dude with a horse on his back for a night and all that. Like they're playing chess, right? And the ad kept going. I was like, this is a really long ad for a video game coming up. Like I thought they were announcing, and I actually wrote it down in my notes, Chess 2, as you can see in my notes right there.
I'm
That's
glad
what
I wasn't the only one because I was like, I thought this was a game, and then it was like, oh, it was just like we're Sony, we're here to play or whatever. I'm like, I thought this was a game. I was so confused.
Well,
Okay.
am I the only one that thought it was an ad for Grand Theft Auto 5?
Really?
I thought it was another ad for Grand Theft Auto 5 coming to the PS5. I
what
was
did
like,
you
again?
What did you think about it, Joseph? That's
I kind
funny.
of just thought the same. I thought it was gonna be another chess game. Like, oh, they're revamping chess. They're gonna make it something different. And I like chess. I may not be the best at it. I thought, oh, cool, I can finally play chess with some people. But no.
So I
Oh,
guess I'm the idiot over here thinking
so
it's
I don't.
GTA.
No, I don't feel weird anymore
No,
because we all thought
just-
like it was a video game ad.
Yeah, like it could have looked like DLC. Like I don't know, like if since Saints Row was announced not too long ago, it could have been like, oh, Saints Row Online or something.
I just
It was just weird.
But moving on. So the very first trailer, and this is one I know Josh I think loves. I mean, I'll just go ahead and say it. Knights of the Old Republic remake, right? That's what the full title is.
Yeah. And we know we have an MMORPG currently going, Knights the Old Republic, but Knights of the Old Republic was my first taste into Star Wars extended universe. It's a really good game, really good story, and finding out that they were making a remake from the ground up is really nice. I'm really excited. You have any experience on this, George? Joseph, anybody? Marty?
I honestly no. Like I think the first extended universe game I can think of ever playing was probably like Force Unleashed, but that was like an original thing. That's as far as I can think. But I've never played any Knights of Old Republic games at all. Not even like the MMO yet.
They
Joseph?
made
Oh.
two games and then the MMO.
I will say it like this, and this is again to kind of prove that I'm not the smartest. So, um, I thought when Knights of the Old Republic remake was a thing, I thought it was gonna be like they were up-resing or improving upon the MMO, which I just now learned is the Old Republic. That's what it's officially called. And since first of all, I didn't know there were two games. Let's just get that off the board. Secondly, I never knew that like they were different games until like I looked more into it. But the whole showcase, I just thought like, why are they remaking an MMO that's like kicking? I don't know if it's alive. I don't know if it's alive, but kicking.
Most people play the MMO for the story. I don't know if the end game's any good. But yeah, you calling it KOTOR is kind of funny because that's what people called the original game. They just called it KOTOR for short.
Well, that is definitely interesting. But what do you think of the remake itself? What are you expecting? What are you wanting to get out of it? Again, I've never played the original. Didn't know they existed. Didn't know the second one existed. So what do you kind of? I mean, the trailer itself looked cool, but at the end of the day, it was just some dude with a lightsaber and then remake, like Flash title card. But what do you want from this?
Me specifically, I hope they keep the integrity of your choices that affect the story alive. Because the whole point of the game was you could be just like say Fallout New Vegas. All of your choices really mattered to the story. You could be good, you could be bad, or you could be somewhere in the middle. And I really hope they keep that aspect of the remake.
Okay, so first of all, I guess I should have asked first, what kind of game is it going to be? Because I didn't even know it was like okay, you say story aspect, like choices. So I'm thinking the Fallout, like you said. What
If
would you put this game
excuse me.
under specifically? Like a category, I guess, to keep it simple.
I'd probably put it under action roleplay game.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was gonna say from what I looked up from it, it's like a D&D game, isn't it? Like
The combat is very akin to D&D. Yeah, that's true, and it has a lot of story aspects. So you could attribute it to D&D if it's more familiar to you.
Hey guys, this is Ernie. I'm the audio engineer of this podcast. I need to jump in. I played the out of this game. This is a full-blown RPG where your choices matter. You can go dark side, you can go light side. Think of it like Mass Effect, but a little bit more hardcore, more RPG, to the point where like if you go dark side, you can't use light powers, or you can use them, but they cost way more resources. Or vice versa, if you go light side and you start doing like the force choke, it drains your mana like crazy because you're not supposed to be doing that. So it is a full-blown heavy RPG, a fantastic game.
All right. Is that something everyone else can agree with in terms of how Ernie described it? Because again, no,
I mean-
never seen it.
Absolutely. I would say his words were a lot better than mine. He described it perfectly to a T.
as a guy who loves Mass Effect, specifically the first three, we don't talk about Andromeda, but that sounds right up my alley. Might go back and play the old game, but yeah.
I don't know. My
Alright.
best experience with that kind of game is going to be Fallout. Fallout 3, New Vegas. But I guess New Vegas really being the most important one, since your choices do actually matter in that, than more so the rest. It seems like it could be really interesting. Maybe something I could pick up.
Maybe here's a question that I have, and this might upset two of you. I don't know. I'm just gonna say this before I even think about the repercussions. What if they remade it to play? And again, I don't know what the original gameplay is like, but it played more like that recent Star Wars game with Cal Kestis, I think was his name.
Fallen
Fallen
Order.
Order.
Yeah, there we
I
go.
wouldn't be too mad. I think the D&D aspect of the original combat was charming in its way, but I know a lot of people wouldn't really enjoy it today. But there's a niche people that would enjoy it. But I think if they revamped it to like Fallen Order gameplay, I think a lot of people would enjoy it. I wouldn't be too mad.
From my guess, if they decide they kind of like how Final Fantasy VII Remake did it, where they made it completely different, but there was still a way you could kind of make it turn-based, kind of. So
Oh,
maybe there'll be a mode or something to switch back to the role-playing way.
Oh, a choice? Like you're saying, like a choice between the two gameplays if you wanted like the old experience or a newer experience?
Yeah, that way for people who want to experience the old way or were used to it, in case someone wanted to try that who's never tried before, but they're like, it's not for me, and then they just go to like the action, like how it is like in Fallen Order.
I think
Alright.
that'd be really cool.
I think that's a pretty good. I don't want to say it's a good choice. I'm no game developer, but I mean, like you mentioned FF7 Remake, I think I'd kind of like it like that. But, I don't want to get too off track. Let's move on to the next game. Simply put, this game was very interesting to see, at least. Project, and I might get this wrong, Project Eve or Project Eevee? And I'm not 100% sure if there's an I in
Pretty
there.
sure it's Project Eve.
Project Eve. Before I say my first impressions, Joseph, I'm going to point this one right to you.
Okay. Project Eve, I thought it looked pretty. I don't know. I thought it looked like a very good visually. It looks like it have a good story. It reminded very much like a hack and slash type game, which I think is probably what it might be. And it sort of looked to me sort of like a mix between Devil May Cry and Metal Gear Rising. Both have kind of similar play styles since they're both hack and slash, beat 'em ups, whatever you want to call them. So much as like Devil May Cry with the sort of more monsters and I guess supernatural parts of it, and sort of like Metal Gear Rising with like kind of like the future technology and the sword play and all that. So I thought it looked pretty interesting considering Metal Gear Rising is one of my favorite games. If it's anything like that, I feel like it's something I could get behind. And honestly, from the whole showcase, that game sort of stuck out the most to me.
Fair enough, George. I'll just pass the baton to you.
I'll say after looking at the gameplay, it definitely kind of looks like Devil May Cry, which is one of my favorite series. But it kind of seems a bit slower. But this is like a first impression, so can't say too much on that. But I do like the look of it. But the look looks just a bit weird to me. I don't know. It feels like most new gen games kind of are starting to look the same to me, personally. They don't look unique enough, but that's just me. But
That's interesting because I agree with that last point for sure. But before anything else, Josh, your opinion?
I have some opinions for sure. I think that the setting looks very near Automata inspired, with the whole apocalypse thing going on, and the gameplay to me reminded me more like Bloodborne. I thought like one-on-one giant boss battles against like grotesque looking things.
Comparing it to Bloodborne, I could see where you're going, but Bloodborne to me still looks a bit quicker. Maybe to me this looks like a slower Bloodborne, or even like a slower Devil May Cry.
Were we watching the same trailer? I don't know. It looked pretty. I mean, it might have been just the executions. Like there were definitely some cool executions and like, oh look at this gory stuff. But it definitely looked a little faster than Bloodborne. To be fair, never finished Bloodborne. I think it's a cool game, but man, it's hard. But it looked a little faster.
Well, looking at the trailer again, it's I don't know. The combat looks a bit slow, but then there are some parts where it looks like it picks up. So I don't know.
I'll say it. Oh, go on.
I can see the Bloodborne Dark Souls type comparison, especially with the bosses, just because they kind of look more, I guess, just more monstrous, more ethereal. So I can kind of see how you can draw that conclusion. I kind of saw it myself, at least only when it came to the bosses, not so much the general gameplay.
Yeah. I only thought it looked like Bloodborne when they had like they had that the character in front of a big boss and you're like kind of circling around him. I thought that really looked like Bloodborne. I'm like, oh, that looks kind of cool.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
like, it looks like the other general gameplay looks way faster in general.
Yeah, for me, and I'll give my first opinion, what I've been thinking about this whole time. I honestly think it looks like a Square Enix game, and I can kind of categorize that now, especially with another game coming up on the list that like these games that follow, third person and follow from a specific angle. FF7 Remake falls under this. Look, 15 looks like it's gonna fall under this. That one game where everyone made the funny joke, like I'm here to destroy chaos, like that looks like it's gonna be on this. And I'm sure
one.
I'm gonna say third person action RPG, where like Project Eve definitely looks like a Square Enix game, but it definitely looks more gory. Like if Capcom also decided to work on it and like give it a little bit of a Resident Evil or Devil May Cry twist without like slapping their name on it. Like, is that a? I don't know if that's a good description, but that's just kind of what it looks like to me. If that makes sense to anybody.
Nah, I could definitely see that. And like I said, now looking again, I could see like the whole. I guess the like the Soulsborne formula, like it's a good formula and it works. So I could see the how you guys could see it's like play like Bloodborne or like any of the Souls games.
Yeah, I mean that was just what I was thinking. I will just add one more slap on this thing that I like the design of the main character or the protagonist. I'll say for now, it is very interesting the way they kind of set up the world. Just like it's typical. We've heard it before, but like you versus the world and some big virus or whatever. But it's interesting. I'll just say that usually when you play those kind of games, everything kind of looks disgusting, but like for some odd reason, and I'm sure that'll be explained, the main character looks like they just came from space. So I don't know, it's interesting to me.
I was gonna say like the comparison Josh made with Nier, like I also kind of felt those vibes. So
Yeah, again, which classifies under the Square Enix games, I'll call it for
yeah,
now, where like it just has this. It feels like that, if that makes sense. Now this game, this next one, I'll give my. I don't know if cursing is allowed or not. If Ernie can edit it out, sorry, but
it's your
I'm
podcast.
fucking excited for this very next game because Tiny Tina's Wonderland, and even in my notes I just wrote as Tiny Tina's effing Wonderlands. I am so excited for because first of all, I'm gonna go on a rant here. So like, just I don't know, take this moment, drink some water. But Assault on Dragon Keep, one of the best DLCs I ever played, just period of a game, not even just Borderlands, just of a game. Because it was a standalone story, of course, that like kind of follows up on the main story, but it felt like you could have just played it by itself and ignored the last other everything, the other 3 DLCs, the whole story. If you don't like fighting raid bosses or farming or whatever, and you played just this, I would have been just as happy. And the fact that it's so good that they just went and said like, hey, let's just a whole spin-off of just this, just all this, the D&D jokes, the everything, just add it in, put it in, baby. Say, you know what, guns, throwing some swords. By the way, there's swords, there's close range combat. It's really cool. Multi-classing, so maybe you don't, maybe I mean some people like to level classes, so I don't know how that feels for everybody, but like maybe you don't have to do 6 different playthroughs or 4 or 8 for different builds or whatever. If I can go into so much more, but I don't want to hog all the limelight. Joseph, I know everyone here has played Borderlands, but Joseph, I'll throw it to you first.
That's fine. Um, like I've liked Borderlands 1. I've just barely gotten to Borderlands 2 playing with you and another friend of ours. But
Mhm.
I think it looks fun because like I did watch people play the Tiny Tina, the DLC, Assault on Dragon's Keep, and I thought it looked a lot like that, just kind of amped up, and they actually took that idea and went farther with it, and like it just made an entire game for it, which I thought was cool, especially with the different abilities that I saw. So maybe, like you said, they could just have different abilities you can kind of turn on and turn off, just something like Borderlands, but I guess just a different formula to it, just more D&D oriented, melee focused, and sort of medieval looking.
George.
Okay, I'm gonna sound like a complete idiot, but I thought this was gonna be DLC.
Oh my! You thought? I gotta pause. You
Well,
thought this was gonna be DLC for like Borderlands 3?
yeah,
I still would be just as hyped. I'll be honest.
I mean, yeah. The
I'll let you
reason
speak
was because I think of all the Borderlands games, 2 is my favorite. 3, I was kind of lukewarm on when playing it because I don't know, it just felt more
Okay,
repetitive, and they didn't do enough to improve on it, in my opinion. But looking at this, I'm like, they're just doing another DLC for it. But then I was looking at it, it's like, this DLC is adding a lot of stuff. And then I'm not gonna say when I realized it was like a new game, but at learning that, I was like, oh, I'm actually now excited.
He saw the title and he went, "Oh," or was it? Don't tell me it was like today. Don't tell me you like realized just 5 minutes ago.
What if I said I did?
Oh my god!
I actually thought it was DLC up until you guys were talking about, until you said new game, and then I looked back at the trailer and I saw the title. Because if it was DLC, it would have been like Borderlands 3 DLC, like Tiny Tina's Wonderland.
You t-
I actually thought it was DLC because from my thought it was like, oh, they're just rehashing the DLC like from the second game, you know? And then I thought, oh,
remaking the DLC for the third game, the same
Yeah.
one.
not the same one, but it's like, oh, there's like another D&D thing, but with slight stuff. But then I was looking at it more again. I was like, wait, they're adding a lot more stuff. This actually looks fun.
and I want to laugh more, but Josh, I want to hear your opinion before we get too distracted.
Oh man, the Tiny Tina DLC for 2 was probably my favorite part of the entire Borderlands 2 experience. I remember playing it through with you. It was amazing. I can't wait to play this one because I know they're really good at randomizing their guns. I can't wait to see what kind of guns they have. Maybe they can randomize like the melee weapons they have. Maybe get some crazy exploding shotgun sword hybrid. Oh, that'd be really cool.
Exactly. That's what I'm excited for. Is that it's a new weapon type, and like even. All right, I'm gonna for all the pros and all the excitement I have, I'm gonna list a couple cons. The first biggest one is that right off this gameplay trailer, I noticed that it's using the same game engine. It seems off of Borderlands 3, just obviously modified, and they're gonna change HUD things. But this does bring me back to something really scary that I have slightly fond memories of because I remember staying up for release to like get this game. Um, I do have fond memories. It's called Borderlands Pre-Sequel. Do we all remember that?
Oh
Or
yeah.
no?
That was a
Yeah.
game.
So I'm a little scared because this game's coming out fairly soon, like 6 months soon, like March 23rd soon of 2022. And that kind of scares me because I'm afraid that they're doing like a pre-sequel thing again, where it's just using the same engine of the previous game. They like, they put it out. There's no like end game content to really grind. There's nothing really substantial there. The end game you do is just playing the story again, which is fine. But there's no raid boss. There's no like special challenges. At least Borderlands 3, like they eventually brought raid bosses back, but Borderlands 3 had a issue at the beginning or at post launch, like day one post launch. So, a couple months, I'll say, where there was no end game content to really grind other than some trials. And those trials just kind of felt like a poor excuse of dungeons. And like, I replayed, or I went back, I shouldn't say replayed, to Borderlands 3 like a couple months ago. And I thought about playing it like yesterday, where I went back and all the new additions are great and they're fun, but it took about 2 years. And Tiny Tina's Wonderland scares me because I'm afraid that it's gonna have trouble just running on anything. And like I know it looked really pretty. To be fair, Borderlands 3 looked really pretty, but when you like try to run the game itself, it just like would poop out. I remember when you play with 4 friends, sometimes your frames were one, especially if one of your friend, I won't name which one of you here, George, where you just spam grenades because you have some cool grenade mod and it lags the whole game for everybody.
I mean,
Me and Ernie played it 2-player and it ran, but that's all I'm gonna say is that it ran and there were definitely like a lot of lag and stuff. So like I want to be able to enjoy this fully and not have to like have too many hiccups, preferably 0, but you can't get what you want always.
to be fair, we were also playing on console at the time.
We were.
Your grenades were not helpful.
They
not
were,
helping
yeah,
the
they
PS4's
really were.
frame rate at all.
Blame Baru. I got the idea from him, Admiral Baru.
Yeah,
But-
yeah. He doesn't stream Borderlands as much right now, but
Yeah,
to
good
bring
streamer.
in back on point, Borderland or Tiny Tina's Wonderland. Super excited as a Borderlands fan. A little scared because I've been down the same road. I think about 10 years ago when Pre-Sequel came out, and while Pre-Sequel was cool and the shiny glimmer and all that, give it about 3 days and it might wear off, and I'm super scared of that. I want a game that runs well, is fun, and feels like it's endless. Like to put it short, I kind of want Borderlands 2 again. And I'm
So
asking that if it's
basically, what you're saying is you want to have constant updates, so you have something to do.
Florida, like, and I know like I'm not paying a monthly subscription, but like
Yeah.
I want there to be like at least a raid boss and knowing like a good roam map down the way that's adding end game content and not just DLC expansions. Because at least like with Borderlands 2, after the first DLC, you knew each DLC was adding one, sometimes more raid bosses, which meant more challenge. And eventually they added Ultimate Vault Hunter and all that. Borderlands 3 added Mayhem mode, which is fine, and I won't talk too much about it. But all in all, Tiny Tina's Wonderland, give me some good end game content, give me a good roadmap that instills trust in me. I hope you guys have learned enough about the engine to make sure it doesn't like run at 30 FPS when you're just walking, because then throw in some grenades and some splash effects and boom. Oh, and also let me ask this: turn down the what's it called? The effects, what the splashy stuff. What's it called? What's
Particle
it called?
effects.
Particles.
Particle.
Yeah.
Please bring those down. Borderlands 3, there's not even an option for that. So some guns just straight up blind you. So that's all I ask. What do you guys want out of this, if anything?
I hope that melee weapons aren't trash, because I would like this to be a berserker with either a great sword or big mace or hammer or something and just go in. That'd be fun for me. Because most RPGs I play, I like to go more melee than anything. So kind of just hoping for that.
I hope
Josh?
there's a lot of freedom in your choices. Like if you want to go like berserker, like George said, and I hope it doesn't like punish you for wanting to go certain routes, like the Elder Scrolls Online does. Like if
Alright.
you want total freedom, I want to be able to be total freedom, but also do good damage and actually play the game.
And Joseph?
I mean, I just kind of want that magic I got with the first Borderlands. When that one first came out, I didn't give it much of a chance because my brother bought it, and I thought, okay, I'm kind of bored, I'll play it. And I kind of just ended up playing it for like months on end just because I thought it was fun, something new. I always felt like there was something to do, like weapons to grind for, bosses to kill, and I just kind of want that again, just to have that feeling of something new, something fresh, and hopefully with the new kind of style, expanding on a previous concept, and just like I said, running away with it, something that I can just get into again.
That's exactly what I want. And I could talk about this game all day, but we don't have all day. Very next game. Oh, wait, no. One more little fact. I know I just said very next game, but here's the first question for my 3.5 friends, because Ernie's the audio engineer. What song were they? And I feel sad that I recognize the song like within the first 10 seconds. If you
I
know
was
it
excited.
already. But what
It's got-
song did they use in the trailer?
It's Baby Metal. It's I think it's Gimme Chocolate.
It is Gimme Chocolate.
Yeah.
Baby Metal, for those who don't know, is a Japanese metal band. The three main core members are like three Japanese idols. There we go. They're very idol-esque, meaning they're like, very cutesy and stuff. And I just thought like, I like that they use that song, but man, I should not have recognized it within 10 seconds, which really says a lot about me.
Well, it's a very iconic sound. When you hear it, you know what it is if you've heard it before.
I
Maybe,
think
but-
it's their most well-known song. I could be wrong, but
Because just
it
like you, I immediately recognized it. So I'm in the same boat as you.
All right, Joseph, what about you?
I mean,
We
I
will-
know of Baby Metal, and I've like when it was a whole big like meme back when I was in high school.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was on a Rock Band 3 or something. I know it was on a Rock Band. They had that song "Gimme Chocolate," so I at least know that song. That's all I really know about it.
Okay, then I don't feel as odd about it. But we're moving on to the next one. Forspoken. I'm gonna let someone else talk about this. Who wants to take the reins on this one?
I guess since it's Square Enix,
Mhm.
it's a very interesting open world game. I'm not sure how the story is going to be because it looks like it's a completely new IP. The combat, it just looks interesting to me. It's more magic based. Looks like I don't think really see anything melee, but from when I saw when the main character she was like fighting, I don't know if it was a boss or something. It reminded me of like the Soulsborne formula, where you just lock on, you just dodge and whatnot. But when executed well, it could be fun. So at least wait for reviews or watch people play it first because I'm not 200% sold on it. I feel like I need to see more from it.
I'll just chime in with this one note where I said to me, the game story wise feels like what would happen when you, the player, are part of a D&D campaign. and you accidentally jump into your campaign world. The way everything was being told, I was like, I feel like if any average human being just fell into a D&D world and suddenly they could do all this magical stuff, this is what that game is.
From my point of view, it looked like an isekai anime.
Oh, that's I kind of forgot about Isekai. I wasn't even thinking
Yeah,
about that.
I agreed. I saw when I was watching it, and I saw on Twitch chat they were talking like, "Oh, isekai." When I was like, "Yeah, I could see it."
Translation, because not everyone will know. Isekai is pretty much what happens when somebody dies or they get teleported in the real world, Earth, or something awful happens to them, and they get usually teleported to a magical world. It's not always a magical world. SAO is an isekai, and you can find me about it, but that's for later. But
You're
yeah, so
technically
pretty much
right.
your whole life changes. So anyway, go back to Forspoken. Yes, it looks like an isekai. Joseph?
Okay, you can probably just cut my part out because I have really nothing to say for it. I saw it. I didn't really have an opinion on it, positive or
that's
negative. It's just not really my type of game from what I've seen.
And you know what? That's a good opinion. So that's perfectly fine. You don't need to have long-winded. I mean, heck, I have that for a couple of these. But back on track again. Yeah, Forspoken. Isekai. You know, that's all I can say.
Beyond the whole isekai, they didn't really show me a lot in the first place. Just
Yeah,
little like background areas, the little like occasional fight. I didn't really see anything beyond that. I don't really know what the game's about either.
like
Sure.
like comparing it to like the Project Eve trailer. Like Project Eve showed a lot more, so that's why I was more interested in that. Compared to this game, it's like I don't know if they showed enough, or since there was kind of a story, they could have elaborated more, so I could have been interested. But it's like I'm just not sold on it, like I am with Eve, for example.
That's fair.
Looks
Next
real pretty
title.
though.
Oh, yeah, it's Square Enix. Next title, and I will shoot this one to George because he loves or used to love this
I
series.
still
I'll
like it.
call it Rainbow Six Extraction, the PVE to Rainbow Six Siege. If we can be honest, George,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts?
Let's see. I have been thinking about getting back into Siege recently, but after looking at how the community feels about the game, apparently it's gone stale, not very fun. But I haven't played it yet, so I can't really comment on that side. But when Rainbow Six Siege did I think it was a Halloween mode, I think a year or two ago, kind of like what they're doing this with Extraction. It was pretty fun. It was kind of like a Left 4 Dead, style, but with like the operators and gadgets, and it was pretty fun for when I played it. So I am kind of excited to play this one, even though a lot of games are coming out like Back for Blood and whatnot.
Yeah, yeah. Which is,
But
I'm glad you brought that up.
yeah, but I still don't know if this is a new game or like an added thing they're adding to Rainbow Six Siege. I'm still not sure, and I haven't looked that up, so I have no clue.
My one question is it free? But I think they're making you pay for this. Like I think they're treating it as a standalone game, maybe, or at least like 30-40 bucks. Again, I didn't look too much into it because I didn't much care, and I know it's ironic, but I didn't much care for Siege, even though it's on my birthday or my wish list, not my birthday list. It's on my wish list for some reason, but I don't want to play Siege. I don't really look forward to. If it becomes free, that's cool. But yeah, that's all I can say about Extraction in terms of both of those titles.
Boys, I
Yeah.
just Googled it. It's $60. It's a standalone.
Yeah,
Ooh.
I was just gonna say I looked it up, and yeah, it says it's a standalone game, not DLC.
Yeah,
So,
I don't think I'm passing. I would have to pass, but that's just
I
me.
I think I'll wait for a sale maybe, or I'll at least see the gameplay and see if there's a in-game content to do. Maybe I'll get when it comes out.
Josh, any opinions?
Oh, I have like almost no opinion on this. I'm not really good at. I don't really play a lot of those like 4-player, like survival horror type games. I
Yeah,
don't
not,
have good opinions on them.
not to distract too much, but again, Back for Blood's coming out, and this game feels like it's trying to like maybe cash in on some of that or some kind of I don't know. I don't know. Extraction kind of came out of nowhere, but they're doing it.
Well, like I said, to me, it's based off of that mode they did for Halloween, which was pretty fun. I will say, but
Do you think that mode was good enough to like make a whole $60 game about?
like I said, it's like a Left 4 Dead 2 style. So if they do like a whole story thing, like Left 4 Dead, possibly.
This game has been in development for a while, and it was called Rainbow Six Quarantine before the pandemic, and then they're like, "Oh, yeah, we can't name it Quarantine."
Yeah.
So it's had problems.
Okay.
Yeah, then it definitely reminds me of the Division, considering the whole story of that T is
Oh.
based around passing money, and that's the whole story for the Division. Except this one just seems more like there's actually an infection rather than people just dying off.
Yeah. And next on our list, Alan Wake Remastered, which I'm just gonna, and this will all I'll be able to say about it is I never knew this game existed. Go, Josh.
Looks like I'm in the same boat as you. I didn't realize there was a remaster of an original game that didn't exist because I didn't know there was an Alan Wake in the first place.
Really?
Yep.
And
I thought there were trailers. I remember seeing a trailer a long time ago for it, and then when I saw the trailer again, I'm like, why is this trailer happening again? How long has this been in development? And then it said remaster. I'm like, wait, hold up, something's wrong here. I didn't even know the game came out.
I mean, I'll just say, like, I remember it coming out on like Xbox 360 as like some sort of, like, back when I was in high school. I never really paid much attention to it. I thought, oh, just another like short game, and seeing it remastered, I just never expect this is the last game I would ever expect to get a remaster.
Well,
Uh,
I think that's all we can really say about that.
Yeah,
Unless you have something to add.
all I was gonna say is I knew of this game. I apparently people who play it they really do like it, and it's getting remastered, so that's cool. And I might play it, might not. We'll see. But that's all I can say about it.
Well, all right, Joseph, you weren't expecting this game, right?
Oh no, not at all. I mean,
Well-
least expected game since Skyrim.
But were you expecting GTA 5, which is also coming out on PS5 again? I think.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I get it. I get why it's getting re-released again, a new console, new way to cash in, get money off of online. It just, I
get-
don't know, it just seems sort of unnecessary.
It is. It's horribly unnecessary because I think you could just play the PS4 version upscaled or whatever.
Yeah.
But please tell me nobody else has anything to add about GTA 5. If you do, you've had 10 years.
I really hope by this point they would have had some story like DLC update, but since online's been so big, they don't care, so it's whatever.
The only thing I have to add is I literally thought the beginning intro ad was GTA 5.
Yep. But boy, they got you. GTA 5. Anyway,
I'm not
This
surprised to see it here.
this next title I think looks interesting, but there's not a lot I think to say about it. Ghostwire Tokyo. Story wise, I have no idea what's going on. Gameplay wise, I have less idea what's going on. I know some people were like choking to some fog or something like that, and then like this one guy was able to fight back against what would be pretty much Japanese horror tales. What's the name of that one guy? There's that one manga artist or whatever that like
Junji Ito.
Junji Ito. Like it looks
Yeah.
like things he would probably come up with, with some slight modification, and it just looks like you can fight back. I think it's supposed to be like horror action technically, but like in the sense of RE6, but like it's not a Resident Evil, so people will accept it. I'm not saying Resident Evil 6 was good. I'm just saying if it didn't have RE on the title, Resident Evil 6 probably wouldn't have been as hated. But whatever. Ghostwire Tokyo. I think it looks flashy, it looks cool, and it takes place in Tokyo, which I want to visit one day.
Yeah,
So
like oh, go ahead, Jess.
Yeah, I thought it looked kind of neat. Like as far as gameplay wise, it didn't show much, but like between the different kind of supernatural powers or whatever was being shown, it kind of reminded me of Dishonored, with how you could have different abilities. And as far as story wise, it looked like it could be an interesting story, but just not a whole lot to go off of from what they've shown.
Speaking of Dishonored, sorry, this is just Ernie, didn't you work on the second one?
It did dialogue editor.
Oh shit, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I love Dishonored too.
Sorry,
It's
Dishonored was said.
Never played it. Never played it.
I also didn't play it because I did the dialogue, so like I heard
You-
or I
you
did
knew-
most of the story, so I was like, I'm good.
You should still
Fair
play
enough.
it. You should still play it. The gameplay is pretty fun, especially the second one where
Yeah, just,
Uh,
just mute all the dialogue.
yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know why
maybe.
I'm here.
One day.
I'm just here to kill.
Anyway, yeah, I can definitely agree with the Dishonored relation. George, I think, is next.
Yokai looks cool. Looks like you're finding yokai. Yeah, cool. The paranormal aspect. cool.
Translate
I
yokai
like
for
the
guests, for our
yokai
non-native
are
guests.
basically like Japanese spirits. They're like
Mhm.
different kinds, like based on what happened. There's some famous ones, or some not famous ones. Like some tropes, like you might see in horror, are based on yokai or certain ones, but I can't really think off the top of my head defaultly. But I guess the main villain with the with the mask, cool design, looks cool.
Yeah.
So I'm interested to play it at least.
Yeah, I was watching that and I thought the villain looks interesting, but that's all I'll say about that for now, Josh.
I don't really have a lot of opinion on that. I think specifically the part where the main character starts like doing the little finger jutsus up around the Slender Man looking dudes. I thought that part looked kind of cool. That's all I can really say about it.
That's fair. Well, then, if nothing else, we're moving on to what I'm gonna say Insomniac Games, but I'm probably wrong.
Yeah, no, you're
But
right.
okay, they are developing this. Is Guardians of the Galaxy the
No,
video
no,
game?
no, my bad. I thought we were going to talk about Wolverine next. That was my
No.
mistake.
Okay,
Okay,
so I got it. So I got it wrong.
Restart that then. Just
Yeah.
restart that. Moving
It's
on.
it's Eidos Montreal, which they're the guys who made Deus Ex: Human Revolution, Mankind Divided. They're that studio.
So I had it backwards. My bad. Again, I preface this whole podcast with I'm not the brightest person, but Guardians of the Galaxy. I don't like. As a Marvel fan, I want to be excited. I do, and this one is like a more single player. Obviously, they've already like in another trailer they talked about like you'll be able to command. You'll play a Star Lord, and you will be able to command like the rest of the Guardians and do some cool combat stuff probably through there, but there's nothing really about it so far besides like some dry humor or humorous moments, not all of it's dry, where it just like it hasn't captured me. Like there's nothing about it that's really gone and like when like you have to buy this game on release. Like I'll probably wait for it to go on sale, but as another Marvel fan, I think most of us here except maybe Joseph.
Okay, from what I've seen, like it just gives me like a reminder of the Avengers game, where it's just sort of like tedious and just kind of stuck doing the same thing. Where like the intro of it was really good, you get to the introduction facing a taskmaster, then you just kind of go on fighting, faceless robots, and that just kind of was the gameplay loop. And this, at least I hope I'm wrong, it kind of feels like it might be more the same, except with like a squadron command element in a way.
Joseph. I mean Joseph. George.
I'm honestly, I like Guardians after learning about them when they came out in like the MCU like theaters, but this game I'm not interested in it at all. I don't know, like the characters, like why does Star-Lord not look like Chris Pratt? I mean, that's turned me off a lot. Like I like how they made Star-Lord look there. He looks so stupid, and I'm like I'm just not with it.
Josh.
I was gonna agree with George how like the design of the game overall is not drawing me in. Like if maybe the guy looked like Chris Pratt, I think I'd maybe think about it. If he sounded like Chris Pratt, I'd maybe
Well,
think about it. But
not even like look like Chris Pratt. Make him not look like such a like douche. He just looks so stupid to me. It's like I don't want to be this guy.
Mm, I can agree with at least Star Lord. Reminder, like I knew him before he was Chris Pratt. Um, how do I say this without sounding weird? Yeah, I'll just go ahead. I think Gamora looks the best. In fact, I'll just say what I wanted to say originally. I think Gamora looks hot in this game. Take from that what you will. But no, Gamora looks like comic book Gamora, like the Gamora I'm so used to. Where like I know it's not Zoe Saldana, and she's a great actress and everything, but like Zoe Saldana looks like a very skinny Gamora, which isn't bad. God, I'm putting a lot of myself here, I know, but in terms of some of the characters, to go off of what you just said, Star Lord, he kind of looks like I don't know why he has the whole like comb over hairstyle thing, but they're more reminiscent of the comic book characters I at least like read about a little bit. I'd never read any dedicated storyline, but like you know, that's just
I, I,
that's my
I was
spin on
I
it.
was gonna ask you, like you've read the comics for Guardians, right?
Not any dedicated, just like comics that involve them.
Oh, okay,
But
I was gonna say like, what about Drax then? Because his face looks a bit weird to me. I
I
don't know.
I would have to look at a picture because I don't remember.
Yeah,
But,
I
but
mean,
I
Groot
mean,
looks cool. He looks like like his wood, like how it's portraying. It kind of looks like he's wearing armor. Like this Groot looks cool. I'll say.
That's fair
Just
enough.
Hey, can I say something?
Go for
ahead.
it.
You're a Marvel fan.
So yeah, Marvel fan. I played a ton of the Marvel's Avengers. I think I had like 120 something hours. Yeah, it is a beat 'em up. Yes, it is very repetitive, but the single story campaign, that it's actually a very cool story. Maybe I'm a little biased, but I do love Miss Marvel. But if you look at like the comic books and if you read even not just Guardians, anybody. If you read anybody, they change every once in a while. They change pretty often. So most of them don't look like the MCU. That's another issue that people had with Marvel's Avengers. Were like it's not the MCU. Well, it's because it's not the MCU. If you read any of the comic books, none of them are MCU. They all look different. There and then from one arc, they got one artist, and then that arc will finish, and then it'll be another arc, and they'll look a little different. They'll look sometimes maybe way different. So, and there's a bunch of like the multiverse just happened, right? With Loki. Spoilers if you haven't seen it. Like, yeah, maybe they look douchey, but they went hard to not look like Chris Pratt because this isn't Chris Pratt. It's not that story. This is another telling of Guardians of the Galaxy. That being said, I've had listened to some podcasts and some guys that I trust. They said that it looks they got some behind closed doors and they said it looks like 7s out of 10. So good, not great. But another cool thing about it is it's very story orientated. Where they were that demo where you're Star-Lord and you're holding Rocket, and then you have to cross a bridge, and you can A, throw Rocket, or B, not throw Rocket. In that instance, he threw Rocket, and then it said on the bottom, Rocket will remember this. He's pissed at you. So later on, it's going to come back and bite you in the ass, like those Telltale games. So that sounds fun.
So okay. Telltales, if it had like actual action RPG elements and stuff, and yeah, I mean, I'll just reiterate this again. Read a lot of comics. He said it better than me, but yeah, it's not MCU. If you wish to see Chris Pratt and all them, there are movies out there. I'm sorry to say it, but he's absolutely right.
Yeah, well, the way I was explaining, it's like I know, I'm getting into comics or learning more about them, and like I do expect like changes, like multiverse and whatnot, and I can suspend my disbelief, like, oh, it's not Chris Pratt, and I can believe that, but his design just doesn't look good to me. Like they could at least make it look different. I don't know. I'm not sure if it's the hair or just the face, but Star-Lord has always kind of been of a douchey character, so I guess if that's what they were going for, I guess it worked. I guess,
Yeah.
but I don't know. Just his design is just not for me. I like the designs of all the other characters, but his, it's not vibing with me.
I can understand when a character design doesn't vibe with you, and you don't want to like play the game. It's pretty integral. You like the look of the character, so you want to play it.
Yeah, and if nothing else, I think we'll move on to the next game, which is a game coming out in an already saturated market, Blood Hunt. I'm just gonna say the trailer was really confusing. It took me a minute to realize it was PvP, and then I think it was either one of you or another friend told me it's a battle royale, especially above all that.
Oh, the one that I thought was Cyberpunk.
Yeah, Blood Hunt. It's a vampire battle royale, I guess. And first of all, the battle royale market is very saturated. There's I play Apex, but in general, I don't like battle royales. I'll say like I didn't like Fortnite, I didn't like PUBG, TabG for all goofy it is. Just the battle royale aspect, it's fun in concept, like this like gladiatorial free for all, but like I guess I'm just really dogging on FPS battle royales. I don't really like most of them, and the only reason I like Apex is because first of all, I play Titanfall 2. But even with all that, just like the movement ability and just the aim mechanics, it's all fun. But not to distract, Blood Hunt's coming out looking like some third-person shooter battle royale where you're also a vampire and you have abilities, and like it's a tough market to break into at this point. Like if you're trying to get into it.
Looks like you can like pick famous like vampires. Like Nosferatu was one of the characters they showed off.
I thought that was just like a class, like the Nosferatu class, and then there were 2 subclasses underneath that or something like that.
Was it? I would.
No, don't you remember like that old SpongeBob episode where it was like the hashtag slash at the end it was Nosferatu, like turning off and off the light?
Yes, I was a kid once.
Yeah, there you go. That's what's kind of.
Well,
based
I know he's a famous vampire, but I thought like I didn't think you were. I didn't think you were picking famous vampires. I thought you were picking classes like under their clan. Like, okay, to explain, I thought they were doing like a Twilight thing
Clan.
where there were vampire clans, and
Mm.
you're like picking like Nosferatu clan Nosferatu, whatever, and then you pick one of the two subclasses that they showcased in each of the three different clans. And I assume they plan to bring out more. I remember one of the clans was like very Twilight looking, and that was probably the joke, or that was intentional. I don't know.
I mean,
But,
it definitely seemed like it was more broke up into class based rather than you're playing as this specific vampire.
Yeah.
But I mean,
that would make sense. I mean, it wouldn't like throw me off too much if I saw like 15 Nosferatus running around, just like how you see like 15 Octanes running around in Apex. But
in
I guess
every
the class base does make a lot more sense. How you're like picking classes instead of
yeah.
picking vampires.
Speaking of, wasn't there like some wizard battle royale that was all about that? And, you know,
Yeah, I've seen like Seagull play it before, and it looks fun, but I just never tried it before.
What's the name of it?
I
I don't know.
want to say
Wizard Legends.
something like that, or Spellforge. I could be
I just-
completely wrong.
I made
I
a.
don't-
I used a joke
Spellforge sounds
name.
familiar.
That's what I'm
Spellforge
saying.
sounds really familiar.
That's the power of the internet.
I don't think we should commit to finding out the name of this. You know, go ahead. Just go ahead. I'm just gonna say one more thing about Blood Hunt. It looks like it takes place in what I think is 1800s London, which sure, interesting battlefield choice, but that's all I can say.
I just
So they
looked up
showed off
Spellforge.
Excuse me.
I was
go
gonna
on.
say Spellforge is not the battle royale one. I was completely wrong.
Well,
Oh, okay.
you had your one chance and you already messed it up, George. Good job. Now
I
we have
was
to move
gonna
on.
say, the one thing that they showed off with that blood hunt that interested me was melee weapons.
I
It's like when
guess.
battle royales haven't really done too well as melee weapons.
Yeah, I mean, with like the whole abilities, like flying and like teleporting with the melee weapons, the whole movement with like melee and all that looks more interesting to me than your typical battle royale.
Yeah, that's all I had to say.
All right. Next game, which is a Bethesda game, I thought is a very interesting storytelling concept, Deathloop. I feel like I've seen a million trailers for this. I'll have to be honest. Deathloop feels like it's a game that should have been out by now. In fact, I thought they were going to announce the release date like 2 days ago when the showcase, 2, 3, I already lost track of time. But it's an interesting story concept that like especially with this last trailer where like a bunch of these people, gods or whatever they are, decided like to create like a universal or an infinite looping universe kind of deal where you just relive the same day. And apparently it seems this guy, I'm just gonna call him John because I don't remember if they said the name of the main character, but he just keeps re-dying over and over, and it's like got a Majora's Mask thing where I guess the whole, sorry, I just smacked my table there. Guess the whole idea is that you're trying to kill the 7 main sign whatever gods they are in one day, similar to Majora's Mask, how like you're trying to beat the game in the same 3 days, but you got to reset time every so often. So I think that's interesting. To be fair, I did like Majora's Mask a lot. Who thinks it would be cool, starting with you, George, or lame, whatever your opinion is?
The concept is very interesting. I'll be honest, I wasn't interested when they first like revealed it, but I think I'm not sure if it's like the same studio who made Dishonored, because to me it's giving me like Dishonored vibes, kinda. But I might try it out, might not.
I have to point out, this is the second game that gave you Dishonored vibes. Did you just recently play Dishonored, or?
No, I just like Dishonored.
Oh, okay, well,
Good to know.
I mean, like the art style looks like it. Like if you play Dishonored and you would look at this game, like, oh, I can see those kind of similarities. Maybe.
I did play the first one.
When they first showed off the very first trailer, the very first time, I thought the concept was really cool. But they've like shown me like so many trailers every single time Sony has ever had any kind of like press release with like trailers. They always have a trailer for this game with no release date, and I feel like I'm getting like getting bombarded with too much information with Deathloop.
Maybe you're getting Deathlooped.
No,
Anyone else?
please.
That's the whole joke of the game. It's
Well,
not even like a real game.
I'd be angry.
They just keep eventually making you think like, shit, am I living in a Deathloop?
They're just never gonna give us the release.
No, they're just not. Joseph, what do you think?
I mean, I've never really been paying attention to this game. This is like really the first I've seen of it. I've heard of it, but from what I've seen, it seems like the story could be interesting. The humor of it kind of was shown through in it. Like it's pretty dry humor, but I think yeah, it's just definitely an interesting concept. Just living the same day like it's Groundhog Day, trying to what was it? How many assassins or whatever you're trying to kill was it again?
I think
I think
7.
it was
I
7.
remember 7 for some reason, and I don't know why.
Yeah,
But
yeah, just keep reliving that same day trying to kill all 7 and just I don't know, it seems like it could be fun.
Funnily enough, the Deathloop concept is one of my like favorite story elements to use in any kind of story.
Kind of like Edge of Tomorrow.
Yeah, where you gotta like relive the thing until you do it the right way.
Groundhog Day.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite story elements to use if to use it right.
that's fair. That's fair.
Hey, you guys want to know something fun about Deathloop?
What's that?
Sure.
It's a PlayStation exclusive, and it's made by Bethesda, which is by Microsoft.
Oh, that's right. They must have struck a deal before the merger, then, right?
Yep.
That's the
I
only
was-
way, right?
So when Sony showed it off at a press conference, like I don't know, a month ago, 2 months ago, Xbox posted like, "Yeah, good job, Sony, love it," because you know,
Yeah, well,
it's an Xbox Studio game now.
yeah, and meaning a good chunk of that money is just going straight to Xbox.
Damn, so like
Yep.
PlayStation's gonna get a new game and Xbox just gonna get Skyrim for the 7th time.
And this game was also delayed. It was supposed to come out in summer, but they pushed it back to, I guess, September 14th is the release date.
Hey, that's
That's
like this year or next year.
2022.
No, this year.
So it comes out in like
2021.
2 days.
Really? Oh my god!
Well,
According to Wikipedia.
I
I'm
don't
not prepared.
I don't know if we'll upload this before then, but yeah, enjoy the new game. I hope you like it. I don't know how many fans are waiting for this game, but I hope you enjoy it. For the next game, this is a game that I didn't learn more about it until now because we only got 3 seconds of trailer, and I'm gonna butcher this, but this is the way it was spelled out in the title card. Kid A Amnesia, not amnesia, because there's a space for some reason. Kid A Amnesia, Amnesia. Something like that.
I assume it's like just like a
Oh.
title thing. I don't know.
Oh, I didn't even get it right because I forgot the last part. Kid A Amnesia Exhibition. That's a title that could tell you anything. So I looked it up, and apparently what's going on is that Radiohead partnered with Epic Games. I don't know who Radiohead is, but
Band, I'm guessing.
yeah,
That's the only Radiohead that I know of.
yeah, that's all I know. And apparently this game is like just supposed to commemorate the coming of age of Radiohead's records, Kid A and Amnesiac, which I guess is why there's the title. So, exhibition makes sense. So, you know what? I think I'm starting to click that this isn't a game, or if it's one of those deals where they sell you a $60 title and they just show you some pretty graphics and whatever happens after that happens. But I have no idea what this is.
Like a $60 album that you buy with pretty pictures.
Yeah, like this is how it's described on this article. Radiohead has partnered with Epic on a project described as an upside-down digital analog universe. Yeah,
I don't know what that
like,
means.
I don't know what
Oh.
that means either.
After looking it up, apparently it is the band Radiohead. They are collaborating with Epic Games.
Cool. On a game or
Yeah, it says right here because it's like Rolling Stone. Like Radiohead have seized a new digital project dubbed Kid Amnesia, and then that this game is a collaboration between studio like Name the Machine and Epic Games. So I guess Radiohead's going through them. I don't know.
that's
Oh, it is a game.
this is
Yeah.
coming out. This is coming out eventually, and that's all I'm gonna say. When it comes out, I won't be surprised if it's an album, a game, another Fortnite concert. None of it would surprise me. Tachia, I think is what it's called, or TCHIA. I don't know if I messed up the pronunciation, but we're just gonna call it Chia from now on. Looks what I put here is it looks like a nice little adventure. Like it's just what it is. Like it's not a game that made me jump up. It's not a game that made me go like, yo, watch this sickest new game. It's just looks like a nice little adventure. I don't know if what studio made it. I'm gonna trust maybe an indie sort of team, maybe at least something below AAA. But it looks like a nice little adventure that you can play you and like a friend, a girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, or a nice little stream game where you
Or
just relax, drink
or if you
some
have a
tea.
kid, you can play with them.
Yeah, something like that. And like, that's all I can really say about it. Josh, what do you think?
I I forgot that was even in the PlayStation. I forgot I was there. I'm gonna be real.
Yeah, that's fair.
It looks like maybe it's some weird like Breath of the Wild thing again. You just go explore.
All right, all right. George?
Literally nothing else
Oh,
beyond
never.
that. I have nothing else.
All right, George.
It looks like a cute game, but not something that's really within my style to play. So probably not gonna play it, but looks fine. And I think I looked up, and I'm pretty sure it's a indie dev company called Awakeb. That's the publisher.
Have they
Again,
made any other games?
Again, everyone, if we're butchering pronunciations, sorry. I just don't know.
A lot of these things are hard to pronounce unless you hear it firsthand. But anyways, have they made any other games before this, or is this their first game?
I'm trying to look for something, and I don't know. This could be
Oh.
their first.
Well, while you do that, Joseph, what do you think? If you even remember this.
I remember I saw the trailer. If anything, it kind of reminded me of like a Nintendo game. Like if you mix Breath of the Wild with Mario Odyssey, with the way you can kind of take over animals to do some different
Forgot.
things.
I forgot that was like a mechanic. Like, I don't know. This thing came and went, and I forgot that you can take over animals. Yeah.
Like take them over? Like take them over?
Like,
you
you
take
know,
their
like-
body over?
Yeah,
It's like if you're throwing your Cappy or whatever in Mario Odyssey, and you get to play
You
as that. That's
become
kind of what it is.
well. That's. I mean, Mario Odyssey was a really good game, so that bodes well for this.
Yeah, from looking it up, I'm pretty sure this is the first game. It's like a
Wow.
small indie dev company.
Well, congrats to that studio. First of all, that's actually like clap. I'm not just
Yeah.
one of these because for it to be showcased on PlayStation, I imagine it's not easy unless I don't know you have $1 million. I don't know how these work. I'll be real honest. I don't know how any of these work. I just know a bunch of games get showcased, and I'm sure somebody has to pay somebody. But moving on, and I'm gonna leave this next title for George. George. I almost God, all of you need to change your names. George.
Did you combine their names?
No, I was like about to like make sure George was the name I wanted, but I hesitated. And I was like, oh no, do I want to call out Josh next? um, so tell us about Uncharted Remastered. I'm sure you're a big Uncharted fan.
I am. From Uncharted 4 coming out on PC, cool. I can optimize it. That's all I can say about 4. 4 was really good. The collection coming to PS5, I think, as well, including the spin-off game with I forgot her name. She was from Uncharted 2 and 3. But them just coming to PS5 is cool. Although it's weird because they were on the. If you had like PlayStation Plus back then, you could have gotten the Uncharted collection, the first 3, for free on PlayStation Plus, and also Uncharted 4 as well. So
Yeah, but now it's higher resolution,
yeah.
and there'll probably be mods on the PC version at some point.
Yeah, like I said, I'm excited to play on PC. A Sony game on PC. That's always you love to see it.
You love to see it. It's rare, but you love
Yeah,
to see it.
that's all I can say about it.
Joseph.
Um, okay, this is gonna sound weird coming from a guy like me because I'm like the biggest Metal Gear Solid fan, but I've just never been a fan of like Uncharted and Last of Us, which I felt were too cinematic and not enough gameplay. And I know the whole meme. It's like Metal Gear Solid's a movie, not a game. But I felt like Metal Gear Solid did have like a lot of gameplay to go along with it. But for me, it just Uncharted and all those other like Last of Us, it just didn't have enough to captivate me. But I guess the only positive thing I can say is that at least it's coming to PC, so it's not just hey, we're just remaking the same game for the next generation consoles. At least people who were too afraid or maybe just didn't want to spend the money to buy a PlayStation just for one game can finally have the chance to play it.
All right, Josh.
For Uncharted, I've only ever played the first one, the first Uncharted when it first came out. I thought it was pretty fun. Never
I-
played any of the other ones.
I would really recommend playing the second. My opinion, the second is still the best, and then I'd say the fourth one is probably like right under that, and then third and first could be interchangeable after that.
Is
I would
the
definitely,
difficulty still spike up ridiculously when you play on the harder difficulties? There
yeah,
was a problem when I played the first one and I beat it to get all the trophies. I had to play it on the hardest difficulty, and that was the worst experience of my
yeah.
life.
It's not a fun time, but it's still a fun game to play. So I wouldn't like pressure to ever do the hardest difficulty, but still fun. And from what Joseph said, yeah, it's pretty cinematic. The second one definitely feels more like you're playing a movie, but there is enough gameplay to it's like you're doing stuff and there are interesting puzzles and it's
Even
just it's a fun
beyond
game.
that, even beyond that, I think I really liked Nathan Drake, the character.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, my thing is that I've never played an Uncharted game, and not to like, well, I practically am just putting them all in one pool, where I kind of look at them like Metal Gear Solid and probably some other title, but Metal Gear Solid is on the top of my head, where I just like there's too many of them that I kind of don't want to go back and try to find the first one just to play it, but uh, next game, and this is another Marvel game. We saw.
wait, I'm actually
similar-
very excited about this one. I have a lot to say about this.
I'll let you take it away then.
Okay, so it's obviously made by Insomniac Games. I'm a big fan of them from what they've done in the past, which I'm very excited because I'm not sure if anyone here has played it, but I'll let anyone else hop in. Has anyone else played X-Men Origins Wolverine, the game, or Uncharted, or of that game?
No,
I
can't say that.
played X-Men Origins Wolverine.
So I'm just hoping Cinematic kind of makes it like that game, but with an actual good story, because the gameplay for that game was fun. Well,
The gameplay was very fun, but the story was kind of
because it was
not-
based off the movie at the time, which sucked. But this might look like Old Man Logan to me, maybe, or maybe not. So like,
Hard to say.
Well,
We didn't really get a face.
all we got were the knuckles that were bleeding that weren't like immediately
Yeah,
healing.
It was like a 5-second trailer.
yeah, it
I
could
don't.
be. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I don't know if this was an homage or a telling, but when you see Wolverine sitting at the bar, if you look to the right, there's a license plate that says Hulk 181, which is when
Oh.
Wolverine appeared in the issue of Hulk. So again, it could be an homage. It could be you're hunting Hulk. Who knows?
Oh, this could be maybe like a Wolverine origin story type of thing.
I like that, and I didn't even notice the license plate.
Neither
Oh,
did
yeah.
I.
Come again. But yeah, that is when
Huh.
he first appeared as a character. This next game, I feel like personally, I want to skip on, but we have to at least say something about it. One of the longest trailers, Gran Turismo 7,
Vroom,
and
vroom.
We always got to have a car game in there somewhere.
always a car game in every showcase. Xbox has Forza, PlayStation has Gran Turismo, Nintendo has Mario Kart.
At least Mario Kart's fun.
It is until like you're in first place and you've been winning the whole time. And you get one blue shell and like suddenly you're in seventh. Sorry, that was that got a little bit real for me, but it
So
happened. It
So
happened
you
a
don't
lot.
play. So you don't play online,
Yeah, but then like you want to play with your friends.
and then you choke your friends. It's okay.
Yeah, but now they're like states apart.
Oh, okay, fair enough, understandable.
I can't reach them. Anyway, Gran Turismo, cool if you like cars. I've just never been for racing games.
Till you say something positive, I was looking at the trailer, and apparently there's like a photo like editor or mode, so you can like take nice pictures. So that's cool. I don't know if they've ever done that in the past. So there's
Take
my
nice
experience.
pic-
If the graphics are not good enough that I can like put myself in it and make it look like I own a Lamborghini Aventador, I ain't having it. I ain't having it. I don't care how good of a photo editor it looks, unless the car looks that real. I'll say that right now.
Like I'll say like I like the more like the I guess crashing into other people kind of racing games where like I don't like is Burnout like one of those types of games where you can just
You're asking me, the
man.
racing game connoisseur.
I remember as a kid playing a racing game and you could just crash into people and there would be like stupid like crashes and whatnot, which was fun to do.
Look, I'm gonna
Yeah,
tell you
it was like
when
Burnout. So it was
Yeah.
Burnout 3 Takedown. I remember that because that's the most fun I've had with a racing game ever.
Yeah,
That was-
exactly. So I'm not a big fan, but more power to the people who like them.
Last racing game I played was Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2 on the PlayStation 2.
So
The
yeah,
only kind of racing, any kind of games with cars in them that I enjoyed was Twisted Metal. There's no racing involved.
yeah. So like now I get them. I get them now. I still don't have the 5-year-old brain, but I just don't get why. I mean, I guess if you like want to actually street race, sure, fine.
You
Better
want to go
than
broom, broom, man?
yeah, that's fine. But I feel like that's all the time we should have for Gran Turismo 7. Um, next game, Marvel game yet again, but that's not to complain. Spider-Man 2. The
Made
Spider-Man 2.
by Insomniac again, dude. They are killing it recently making
Yeah,
games.
I thought they would have like named it something else because I thought that's what they're going with the Miles Morales one. What was that one called? Somebody?
Spider-Man Miles Morales.
Oh well, okay. Maybe I should have figured out it was gonna be that simple, but I don't know. I just thought they were gonna
Yeah.
name it something.
Oh wait,
like,
I am interested in one thing. Did anyone else, when at the beginning of the trailer, when the electricity set up on like the street light, did anyone else thought it was infamous for that split second, like me?
No.
Yeah,
But-
like another reason because I was like, oh, they showed Wolverine, so I was expecting them to make like another Spider-Man, like show another game they're working on instantly, and I wasn't thinking like, oh, Miles is electricity, you know?
yeah. So I think. I mean, it's a Spider-Man game, and if it's anything like the first one, and I don't know how Miles Morales did, but I assume well. If it's anything like those, um, it will be a big hit. Everyone will talk about it again for a good period of time. And they're bringing one of my more favorite Marvel characters just ever, Venom, and my third and they're giving him the guttural voice, which I know is like sounds weird to say because we're all used to like the deep Venom voice, like but
Actually, wait, like the voice that was talking in the trailer beforehand?
I think so. The part was that Venom or am I
No,
wrong?
that I'm pretty sure
Towards
that
the
was Craven
no,
the
no,
Hunter.
I'm talking about towards the end where he
Oh,
goes
the
like,
end. Oh, right.
yeah, that's what. No, I know Craven the Hunter. No, I'm talking about like
Yeah.
towards the end. I was pretty sure that was supposed to be Venom's voice because
Yeah.
but the deep voice isn't always what I knew because in MVCI, anyone remember that game? They gave him the for kind of to give an example, like we are Venom, and so like I kind of prefer the deep voice. So I'll give him a thumbs up for that. And so far, nothing else because all we saw was a story or pretty much a story trailer.
I was gonna say one more thing really quick. When I think this might be a co-op game, or they'll at least let you switch, like choose between either Miles to play as or Peter Parker.
Oh,
Because
say.
when in the trailer when they were doing like a cool takedown, like both of them on that one guy, I'm like, oh, co-op? Like, oh, that'd be pretty fun.
Maybe.
If that's true, I'd be a lot more interested.
Yeah.
Just because I never played the first one, and if there's co-op in this one, I might go back and play the first one and
And
play the DLC for Miles Morales.
After 100%ing Miles Morales, it pretty fun. I was kind of worried, like if they do a new Spider-Man game, how would they make Peter Parker play more interesting? Because it's like he would be like a more watered down Miles Morales, because Miles has like invisibility, his electric powers, but they're giving him more of the tech stuff, like Iron Spider, like attachments and whatnot. So they make Peter have more like mech gadgets to use, and Miles with his more like bio powers. So
That's fair. No, I was just gonna add I don't put my trust in a lot of these superhero games. And part of it is because like as a kid, a lot of them kind of came out and they were definitely hit or miss. I mean, I'm talking about the first 3 Spider-Man games because I think I played at least 1 and 2.
have you
And,
never
like,
played Spider-Man 64, dude? That was
No,
so
they were just mostly like flight simulators or swing simulators, and like I don't know. To me, they weren't that fun. So like,
Dude, Superman 64 sucked ass. Everyone can agree.
yeah, this is kid me, but I just feel like it's stuck in my head that there's just going to be more of that. But apparently, the first one did really great, and I have to trust the voice of the people. Miles Morales did really great, so maybe 2 is worth a try. I would have to go back and play the first one, but uh,
Like I
Someone
never.
looking in, I never I've never played the entirety of the first one. I've only played bits and pieces from my brother. He let me play it. I would trust Insomniac Games.
Like-
They got a good formula going for this Spider-Man.
I never played the PS4 one because I was just watching people play it so much, and I was like, you know what, I watched enough, looks really cool, but I just don't have time to play it. but then I played Miles Morales, and the web slinging feels so good, man. It feels so good.
Yeah,
Just
that
to, like,
particularly, the
go
web
around.
slinging, even in the first one, the web slinging was really intricate.
That
It was
is
And
really,
true.
really detailed.
especially with like the PS5 controller, like when you feel like the tensile like of the web, it feels so nice. I was gonna say like Spider-Man's probably my favorite Marvel hero, like up there with like Hulk and Wolverine. So, dude, if Insomniac makes a Hulk game just like the Incredible Hulk 2 Ultimate Destruction for the PS2, I would love that. That game was my favorite Hulk game
Yeah, no,
specifically.
there's a game I've actually played. The last Marvel game I can actually remember playing.
Today there are like
That game was
there are 7 games I found out existed, and 2 of them were on this PlayStation showcase. Just overall. But let's move on to last, and I think definitely not least. Like I didn't even play the first one, God of War Ragnarok. What can I say? I think it looks great.
Boy,
It like yeah. First of all, the boy, but I mean,
POV.
from what I can tell, Atreus, who I don't think spoilers matter here. And
yeah,
yes,
it really does.
I did just watch a playthrough because I didn't feel like playing it, but I definitely wanted to like see it. Um, Atreus, who is Loki, apparently from what the game devs or somebody said that the idea of Ragnarok is that they're gonna follow like his troubling phase, so to say, like his teenage phase, where he's gonna like he's learning to first of all grow up and B to like accept and understand what his godhood means and all that. So I think that's a very interesting story aspect that adds more to what people already like about the duality of Kratos and Atreus, like being father son, and Fat Thor.
That's
um,
more accurate, Thor.
it's more accurate Thor. Yeah, I've read all the Twitter. A lot of Twitter was going off for a while. Um, a lot of historians have come out and all this back and forth. To cut it short, Fat Thor looks great. It's more accurate to like how Scandinavian representation would have been for them back then, from what I heard. Where like they weren't bodybuilders; they were just like they were farmmen and all that who just had a lot of muscle. But like muscle turns into fat, and they just also had or fat turns into muscle. Whoops, my bad.
Yeah.
And they were just muscular fat men, but like they were in no way weak. And I like it a lot because again, I like Thor, and I thought Fat Thor in Endgame. I know that has its own controversy, but I thought that was great. And having more characters I can cosplay as is a plus because right now my list is Fat Thor, God of War, and Roadhog, and I need about 2 more.
From what I saw online, apparently, I watched a video recently about I think a guy who's has like a PhD in like Norse mythology and whatnot, like looking at like some of like the God of War, like this current one and Ragnarok, and apparently I learned that the whole tattoo thing is just like it's more of a modern take. It's not very accurate. There was like one count of them having tattoos like that back in like in a book or something, and I guess people ran with it. And so from everything Norse moving on, apparently they do the whole tattoo thing. So it may or may not be true they ever had tattoos.
To be fair, doing tattoos back in the day was like almost hammer and chisel type of style. There was
Yeah.
definitely no machine. So
And Anger Boda, the girl at the very end of this trailer,
is that how you
from-
pronounce that?
yeah, it's Anger Boda. Apparently, some people are upset, like, oh, you made Thor real like accurate, but she's apparently not accurate. Which to me, it's like I don't care as long as like the character of the actual character plays out. Because in Norse mythology, Anger Boda is the wife of Loki.
Nice. Lord,
Yeah.
I hope everyone wrote
And
that down.
and Loki, he was the son of obviously a giant, which was supposed to be his father, and his mother was a goddess. But
Yeah.
spoilers for God of War, Kratos is his godfather, well, literally his father, and he's a god. And his mother was the giant, so that's how they took the spin on it.
Yeah, so I mean, it won't be 100% accurate. To keep it real, jokes aside, it looks interesting. It looks like it'll be a good follow up. Only time will truly tell. There have been many countless times where a sequel has been released and it's did the series poorly.
I was gonna say, other than me, Josh or Joseph, have any of you guys finished or even played the God of War for PS4?
I've
I
never
have
played a
played.
single God of War game.
I've played a lot of the God of War games. I played the 3 on the PlayStation 3.
Yeah.
as well as 2, and I also played the PS4 version of God of War, which I thought was really good. If God of War Ragnarok has all of the fundamentals they need to be good, as long as they just keep what made the first one good and just translate it into a sequel, just make it better. Because I thought
Yeah.
the combat, specifically the Leviathan axe, was amazing. How you just throw it and then bring it back. That concept was really cool. And the mechanics, how it translated into the game itself, was really fun.
And then with the Blades of Chaos, and then this one looks like when you're doing attacks with like with the axe, but you can combo it with like the blades as well now. That looks pretty fun.
Yeah, they had a lot of how you say customization to how you fight. I
Yeah,
thought it was really cool.
and base for story, I just want to touch up on this. Where in the first game, it was Atreus wanting Kratos to be more of a father to him, which at the end, he does. But in this one, it looks like Atreus wants him to be more like a general than the father. It's like, hey, you've been a father long enough. I want you to help me fight and learn about who I am. Because, like you said, him learning about his past, they are probably gonna pick a fight with the gods, or even cause Ragnarok, which apparently the developer said, yeah, Ragnarok's going to happen. So it's
Spoilers.
well, it's in the name, just Ragnarok. But just saying the dynamic of Kratos, like trying to be a father, and now he's like, okay, I am your father, but Atreus like, no, I want you to be a leader and be a fighter. But with like how Kratos' tragic past from the previous games, falls into that. Maybe Atreus will learn more about that. I'm just more interested in like the whole dynamic of their relationship.
The character development for Kratos is really good, considering the first 3 games. He was the complete opposite of what he is in the PS4 version.
Yeah, I've only played God of War 3, and there was like a multiplayer one that came after 3, which I didn't hear.
It was
really good things.
weird. It was weird.
But I think it's canon too, by the way.
I'm not sure about that one.
I think it was like God of War Ascension or something like that.
Yeah.
I think it's canon because it's like a prequel, and you don't play as Kratos. You play as like his friend or whatever.
Oh, makes sense. But I do know the whole story of Kratos, since I after playing 3, I want to learn the whole story instead of playing the other 2 games. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about Ragnarok.
He was an angry man.
Any finishing thoughts, Joseph? Maybe.
I've never played a single God of War game. I don't have much to add, but from what I've seen people playing on the previous, God of War 5, I thought the story was interesting, especially with the whole Norse and the father-son dynamic. Just think how that develops would be pretty cool.
The whole Norse mythology is one of my favorite mythologies. People probably know it well. Like I said, more from Marvel, which maybe that's why some people were upset with the whole Thor thing, but they get over it. But I hope that the series isn't done, because the developer thing at the end of the showcase, they were talking about how this is they're wrapping up the Norse series, and when they said that, I'm like, oh, are they gonna continue on maybe with Chinese mythology or other mythologies in the future? Like, I'm just interested how the story is gonna go.
No, they're doing Christian next. You just straight up fight Jesus and God.
The Crusades
and
Hail Mary.
I like how they didn't stop with the Roman or the Greek gods and they went to Norse. That was cool. And I hope they keep doing it like what George said. Maybe go into Chinese mythology or something.
Well, they kind of set that up if you, like I said, played the PS4 game, because they talked about how Tyr was going through all of these mythologies and want to learn. He was probably the most peaceful God of War, and them showing Tyr instantly in this trailer means that there's probably gonna be even more groundbreaking stuff happening in this game if they're already showing us Tyr.
Well, that's a good thing to look forward to.
Okay, and thank you for joining us on our first ever episode of Cheap Chumps podcast.